The group Judicial Watch has filed a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit against the ATF for records dating back to the Obama administration on a proposed ammunition ban. All the way back to 2015, the Obama administration's attempted to reclassify certain AR-15 ammunition as armor-piercing, which would then place a ban on the ammo. Judicial Watch has pursued information on this proposal for over 3 years. But the ATF has still been unwilling to comply to federal open records laws. Joining me now is the president of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Tom, it's good to see you.
Hey, Clint, how are you?
So I'll tell you what, this is great that you guys are doing this, because so many times people just want to forget what happened in a past administration, but not at Judicial Watch, whether it's Hillary Clinton's emails or now Obama and the assault on gun owners. Thank you for going after this stuff.
Well, you're welcome. And, the issue never really goes away, as you know, the efforts to restrict the constitutional rights of gun owners. And in the case of the Obama administration, they tried to do an end run around the Constitution, at least on the AR-15 weapon, by trying to restrict unlawfully access to certain types of ammunition by reclassifying them as armor-piercing, which essentially would have banned their ban the ability of civilians to access the ammo. Now, that was even a bridge too far for the Obama administration, and they had to retreat after they received strong pushback, I'm sure, from the NRA and hundreds of members of Congress, I think 200 members of Congress. But we asked for records about this scheme. They gave us the runaround. They said, well, here are 92 records, but we found 1,900. We said, what about those 1,900? And they said, well, they're not responsive to your FOIA. We said, yes, they are. So rather than fight them, we FOIA'd again the records, the 1,900 records they found about the ammo ban. And again, they said you can't have them. So we sued in federal court just recently. This is the sort of gamesmanship that's been going on. Unfortunately, hasn't stopped despite a new president coming to office, because certainly at the ATF, it's the deep state approach, as we've seen in other agencies.
Yeah, and other agencies for sure. What this really was all about, and we've talked about this issue on our program before, the attempt to reclassify this ammunition was an attempt to simply ban it. And if you don't have ammunition for an AR-15, I mean, an AR-15 is no good with nothing to shoot out of it, right? And right. So this was just an attempt on their part to eliminate AR-15s out there. You think I'm right on that?
Oh, sure. And that's why they don't want to give us the documents. They have 1,900 pages of documents, including talking points and other key records on the proposed rulemaking, as they called it. And again, this is an opportunity for transparency by appointees of President Trump. But unfortunately, at the Justice Department, they don't really want to be transparent on much of anything. And so we're in this ridiculous fight with them where we've had to file 2 lawsuits on basic records about one decision.
Tom, for many years of my TV career, I was an investigative reporter, and I would freedom of information request all kinds of information. And the common practice, I don't care whether it's the ATF or whether it's the local dog catcher's office in your city. They want to deny any information. And it may sound corny, but it is very true that they work for us. And I think at all levels of government, whether it's your local city government all the way to the federal government, they forget this very notion that it's our documents that you're seeking, Tom.
Well, that's right. And they err on the side of secrecy rather than transparency. And if we don't know what our government's up to, it's not much in the way of self-government, isn't it? And that's true at the local, state, and federal level. And here you've got these mega agencies who, through one rule, would impact the rights of millions of Americans, refusing to explain itself. And it's not Congress in court. It's not the media in court. It's little old Judicial Watch going into court against the ATF to get basic info about one of its most controversial plans within the last 10 years or so.
Look, I think what they bank on is that an agent or an organization will ask for this information. They'll give them a few documents, and then that organization will just go away. But if it wasn't for Judicial Watch, we wouldn't know half of what we know about Hillary Clinton's email debacle or Benghazi or any of those other issues that you keep going back and back and back. That you must be enemy number one at some of these federal government agencies.
We certainly are well known among the various government bureaucracies, and the bureaucrats hate having to answer our questions. And what they hate is that, as you point out, most folks go away when they're given a runaround or told or ignored, or, as you point out, just given a few documents and then told to go away. And we don't go away. We're relentless. We've got the strong support of millions of Americans, and we won't be trifled with. And that's why we're willing to go to federal court. We've sued hundreds of times these agencies in federal court to get access information. We broke open the Clinton email scandal. If it weren't for us, we wouldn't have the core documents on Fast and Furious, for instance. And then, of course, you got IRS, and now we're in the middle of the Russiagate scandals as well. And it's all about the right to know and corrupt bureaucracies wanting to keep the truth away from the American people. It's all we're about.
It sure is. I mean, thanks for Judicial Watch, because you guys have been making waves. You know, Superman says truth, justice, and the American way drives him. What drives you guys over there to be relentless?
It's the rule of law, the idea that because no one is above the law, at least ought not to be. And that's why we sue to get access to records. And when we can, we sue agencies directly to stop them from doing illegal things, and government officials directly to stop them from doing illegal things. Too often, the government thinks it's above the law. In this case, it's the Justice Department. Our Justice Department, that's charged with enforcing the rule of law, is one of the worst violators of the Freedom of Information Act, and in this case, it's specifically with the ATF and the guns and ammo. Of course, we saw the worst of that with the Fast and Furious cover-up, but there's still that tendency towards illegal secrecy still, despite their transition to a new administration.
Well, think about that. You have a government agency that's sole purpose is to defend the Constitution of the United States, and they come up with this ammo ban that is a direct way to subvert the Constitution of the United States. Something's backwards when that's happening. Thank God the Obama administration is gone.
Well, it's now up to the Trump administration to follow up with some accountability, and unfortunately, the agencies are refusing to. It's the deep state, but frankly, it's also the top state, the top layers of the appointees who don't want to do the hard work of making this material available to the American people.
Yeah, big government bureaucracy, deep state, top state. It's career politicians and career bureaucrats that get in the way every step. Tom Fitton, great stuff, my man. We'll talk to you again soon, I hope.
Hey, thank you, Clint. Appreciate the coverage.
Absolutely.